This is the Patriots Drive podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Patriots take on the Buffalo Bills this weekend. Wild card weekend, Saturday Night Football. Should be a good one at Orchard Park in Buffalo. Last game didn't go how the Patriots wanted. The Bills played damn near a perfect game, and they handled their business, ended up winning the AFC East, and they get this game on their home turf. So it's going to be a tough challenge for the Patriots. Got a couple guys on the COVID list, couple injuries. Bills seem pretty healthy for the most part. They don't have anybody on their injury report, nobody on COVID. Outside of their Tre'Davious White injury that he's already out for the year, they're pretty healthy, and we're kind of not at this moment. So it's not the greatest time necessarily to be playing a game in a couple of days with some of these key injuries, key COVIDs. But Patriots are going to have to come up with a good game plan, execute, and not shoot themselves in the foot to give them a chance this weekend. But it's going to be a fun one. Playoff football. That's what we've all been waiting for. It's what we all wanted for this team to see them back in the playoffs. They're in the dance. They got a shot. So going to be an exciting one today. I'm here with my co-host, Chase Campbell. How's it going, Chase?
Let's go. Patriots, Bills, round 3. Back up there where we beat them the first time. Let's go. Nothing better, right? I'm pretty sure I speak for all Patriots fans. The frustrations the last 4 weeks, if New England goes out and wins this game, yeah, it's nice to go on and, go to AFC Championship game or win the Super Bowl, but this would probably make Patriots fan season right here after the disappointment we've had the last 4 weeks and losing the number 1 seed, losing the AFC East. This right here, this is for all the marbles. And if you're a Buffalo fan, they're not going to admit it, but I already know that they're crapping their pants at the fact that they might lose to New England in Buffalo after they just won the AFC East and gave us all that crap. So I'm excited as heck, a little nervous, right? Because we've had a little shaky games, but playoff football, anyone can beat anyone at this point. It's win or go home. It doesn't matter how you do it. Ugly, beautiful, however you play, just get the win, baby. That's all that matters. Win and move on. And you're playing next week. So I'm excited to see his team go out at least one more time. We got at least one more game, and we should enjoy it because this has been a very good season for Patriots fans.
It's a little bit bittersweet. Feels like the season went by pretty fast, in my eyes at least. I don't want this to be the last game, but it's a great opportunity for this team. I mean, if you can't get ready for a game like this, playoff atmosphere, if you can't start fast, you shouldn't be on the football field. So this team has a great opportunity to fix some of the things that they've been messing up on and shoot themselves in the foot. If they start fast, get a lead, handle their business, they have a real shot in this game. So it's going to be about executing it and playing their brand of football because they just haven't been doing that recently, and that's why they've lost the last 3 out of the 4 and haven't really looked very good. So we don't want to have to rely on a late fourth quarter comeback, down 3 scores, and try to put Mac in the offense and defense in that situation. So got to try to keep it close the entire game and score in the first quarter, get a little lead going. That's the best thing for this team. I think when they score in the first quarter, they have 1 loss this season. They're like 8-1 or 9-1, and when they don't score in the first quarter, that number is a lot worse. That's most all of their losses this year. So it's really going to be about starting fast, getting the lead, hopefully, and giving Buffalo as little opportunities as they can to score touchdowns because this offense is eventually going to overpower this defense with the weapons they have and with some of the injuries and COVID problems that we have on defense. So we got to limit their opportunities, milk the clock, get a lead, force them to become even more one-dimensional than they already are. If you get a lead on this team, they're going to be just throwing the ball basically. So there's a lot of key factors in this game to give the Patriots a real chance, but it's going to be a dogfight this weekend.
Yeah, and you look at the forecast, 8 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be windy. It's going to be cold. And, I know Buffalo plays up there, but that's the type of football New England wants to play. Is they want it to be rough and rigid. They want to out physical you. They want to run the ball. They want to make you throw it in horrible conditions. So it's favoring New England as of right now, but I'm not like saying Buffalo can't play in it because they practice in it. They're used to it all the time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's approached. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be kind of like the first game we played against them in Buffalo again. Maybe we do throw it more than 3 times, but when the weather's like that, New England is definitely going to want to be run heavy, like they are, and they're going to want to stay from themselves. But like you said, on turnover margin, New England has been almost -1 in the turnover margin the last 3 games, and it's killed them. And you think about it, getting off to a slow start, and then in the Colts game, blocked punt, Last game, pick 6. I mean, those turnovers right there are game changers, and they make you go down they make you get in big deficits very early in the game. And so I agree with you. Starting early, keeping control of the ball. You got to win the turnover margin in this game if you want to win, and you want to walk out of Orchard Park with a W and be advancing, because you can't go -2 in the turnover margin and expect to beat them like we did in New England. That's just not the recipe for success. You got to milk the clock with the run game, get it going, and we got to stop the run better than what we did last time. Both with Josh Allen and with their running backs. They had 114 rushing yards. Last time Josh Allen was 64 of them. I fully expect Bill Belichick to have some sort of scheme around that, where he's going to have either a spy or some sort of guy that's, staying in pass rush lanes, or, maybe bringing more pressure or something where he can't scramble like that. But I would not expect Josh Allen to be running as much as he did. He's going to try to, but I will hope that Bill Belichick says, okay, you're going to have to beat us another way.
Yeah, that's my biggest key to the game this week, is especially if Jalen Mills misses the game. Really not ideal, especially with the weapons this Bills offense has and how much they like to throw the ball. If they beat us that badly, like throwing the ball this past game with Jalen Mills, who's been really solid this year. I know people hate on him, but I saw a stat that I think since the Dallas game, or the past like 7 weeks, something like that, he has allowed under 20 yards every game except one. So he's been really underrated for what people like to give him credit for. He hasn't got nearly enough credit for how he's performed. And even if he does manage to clear protocols, he's going to be extremely limited. I mean, that's what they've done. Matthew Judon was super limited because they don't know. Judon said they kept him limited because they don't know yet how COVID affects you right after you have it. So they don't want to get his heart pumping too much. And so either way, if Mills is active or not, he's probably going to be extremely limited. So we're basically going to have to plan to play without him, which is unfortunate. But the biggest key to the game for me is just defensive line. This front 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7. They need to put pressure on Josh Allen consistently and be more sound in their rushing lanes, because we've seen it. Every key play that the quarterback runs out of the pocket, it's somebody overcommitting to the pass rush, looping around and creating a big gap for these mobile quarterbacks to run through. And that's kind of been a problem the past 3 weeks, probably, I'd say. It's just letting these quarterbacks run free. And that really kills you as a defense when you're holding up in coverage and the pass rush isn't really doing their job. They're not being as fundamentally sound. It's tough. And a big contribution to that, which I hate to say, has been Matt Judon. He honestly hasn't had the type of game that we're accustomed to him having the past 3, 4, 5 weeks. He has 0 quarterback hits the past month. I mean, that's kind of insane. He hasn't been the same player. He's been overcommitting, and teams are starting to realize that he does that. Okay, he overcommits to the pass rush. He loops around. There's a big gap for him to for quarterbacks to run out of the pocket. So he needs to work on setting the edge better, but still getting pressure. And I don't think he's found that happy medium yet, and neither has this team in general. But if we keep letting Josh Allen run out to the right and make these throws and scramble for 20 yards all the time, it's going to be a long night. And the key is just getting pressure on him consistently to where the secondary doesn't have to work as hard, doesn't have to cover as long, and they can't get exposed as much with the lack of depth that we have there right now.
Yeah, Judon not getting pressure has been huge, but it's really been everybody. New England's average sack percentage per game is 6.27. The last 3 games, it's about half. It's 3% of plays New England's getting a rush. You're dropping your production half, and New England's already a middle of the pack team. Chicago leads the league in sack percentage, which is 9.3. New England's already down there, 16th in the league at 6.27, and now you're dropping it to 3.3, which would be tied for last with Atlanta if that was sustainable throughout the whole year. And it's one of the worst. It's tied for 5th worst in the last 3 games. So getting pass rush on Josh Allen. And that's the thing, is when you got a mobile quarterback with Josh Allen, it's not only getting pass rush, it's staying in your pass rush lanes, because you can't give him ways to escape so easily, especially if we're in man coverage and we got no eyes on him. So it's getting a good pass rush, winning your one-on-one battles with Judon, Dietrich Wise. If Barmore's good to go, which it sounds like he's trending upwards, that's going to be a massive gain right there in the pass rush. But they got to keep their pass rush lanes and be able to stay disciplined so that he doesn't run for another 50, 60 yards on us.
That's going to be a huge key to this football game. And that's what this team, like I said, has been struggling with. And teams have kind of realized, okay, it's Matthew Judon, Christian Barmore, or bust. because Kyle Van Noy has been playing great football, but he's not necessarily like a pass rusher. He likes to set the edge. He likes to push the pocket back a little bit and jump up in the air, block passes down, do that type of stuff. He's not necessarily a traditional speed pass rusher. So they kind of realize, hey, if Judon overcommits or if we can handle Barmore up the middle, we're going to be fine. And that's maybe a spot where somebody like Josh Uche could step in for a few plays and maybe on third down and stuff like that, and maybe keep some of these faster linebackers. That's why Jamie Collins missing practice today and having that injury that he has is big, because he's one of our faster linebackers. Other than that, we got Hightower and Juwan Bentley, and those guys were exposed in coverage with these backs that Buffalo has and with their passing game. These guys aren't coverage linebackers. These guys are run stuffing linebackers that can rush the passer, get to the quarterback a little bit, but these guys aren't people who you want to be playing in coverage consistently throughout the game. So that's one thing that maybe playing some dime, keeping some most of your secondary out there and some lighter packages where you kind of force Buffalo to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. That would be kind of ideal. And then hope your run stopping ability holds up a little bit, even though it hasn't recently. It's a big game that this is what you got to do. And if we just consistently let our linebackers like Hightower and Bentley get in coverage on these running backs and trying to play zone against these crossers and stuff like that, we're going to get torched all day and it's going to be ugly. So I see guys like them being kind of early down, and then later in the down, hopefully if we get them into third and long, we can put maybe have Uche, Judon, Van Noy, all these guys out there rushing the passer and get maybe a couple of lighter linebackers. But it's tough because our cornerback depth isn't that deep, especially if Mills is out, to where playing dime defense and being lighter is still going to be hard. Duggar practiced today in a limited capacity, which is huge because he's a big factor in this game. So that's good news at least, but we definitely have to contain Josh Allen and try to limit his ability to run, escape the pocket, extend plays, and create yards with his legs.
Yeah, and the first game and even the second game we played Buffalo, the whole narrative was they don't want to run the ball. That narrative's kind of gone away. Buffalo the last 3 weeks have been averaging the most carries per game, at least rush attempts, 35 rush attempts per game, leads the league the last 3 games. They're about 10th in the league in the last 3 at 100 and third in the league in the last 3 games, 172 rushing yards per game. And New England's rushing defense, as you mentioned, has not been good, allowing 129 yards the last 3 games. So that's definitely concerning. And that's going to be major because this team at first, when they started struggling in the regular season and they were so inconsistent, they weren't even running the ball. They were one-dimensional. Teams knew what was going to happen. And it's easy when you can pin your ears back and rush the passer, when you can switch up either man blitzes, zone blitzes, man coverage, straight zone, rush 4, rush 3, drop 8. It's easy when you know they're going to pass it. So for me, I attribute that to both being getting them into third and longs. Don't let them win first and second down continually. They're going to win it. I mean, Buffalo's a good offense. They're going to win some first downs. They're going to get third and short a couple times, but you got to get them in third and 8 plus. You can't let them run for 4 yards of carry on first down and make it 2nd and 6 and then do whatever they want and make it a super easy third down conversion. So getting them into third and longs right there is going to be massive so that we know that they're going to pass it. And shutting down the run game in general is another way where, especially when we're limited at corners and we're having a little bit of depth issues and injury and COVID issues, where it's so much easier when Bill or Steve or Gerard Mayo, whoever wants to call a game, whoever's making the decision, it's easier to call, switch it up when you're in man or when they're going to pass it. So that's going to help take pressure off of the secondary, especially after Miles Bryant got torched multiple times last time we played Buffalo by Isaiah McKenzie. And he played great, but you would argue that Cole Beasley is probably a better receiver than him. And that can be kind of a scary thought.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy that we were pretty healthy throughout the entire season. And now the playoffs, 2 days away, we have like 13 players. I mean, we've kind of always had a lot of players in the injury report throughout the year. That's just kind of always what Belichick does. But it's more actual game-threatening injuries, COVID for key players. That's the biggest problem. And it's not the same way for the Bills, which is what makes the matchup seem like even more of an uphill climb. Is we got Jalen Mills, we got Barmore, who's nicked up, but looks like he probably will play. We got Duggar, who's nicked up. Maybe will play, maybe won't. Our starting left tackle, Isaiah Wynn, Jamie Collins. We got a bunch of guys on the injury report, and that's not what you want to see right before a big matchup against a division opponent for wild card weekend. I mean, at their place on the road, it's going to be tough. The environment's going to be tough. It's going to be cold. It's going to be Bills fans everywhere going crazy. It's a playoff game. First Bills Patriots playoff game in like 20 something years, something like that. So it's going to be a tough matchup. And like you said, limiting the amount of yards they get on first down, creating third and longs for them is going to be what we need to do to have success. That far too often last game on first down, they were getting 7, 8, 9, 10 yards on first down with a little check down. We were dropping everybody back. They were throwing it to the running back, and he was getting yards after the catch, and he was almost getting the first down. So then it's 2nd and 2, 2nd and 1. I mean, it's impossible to continuously win on 2nd and 3rd and 1 over and over again all game, and then they could go for it on 4th down. You never know what they're going to do. So they were very aggressive last game. They went for it in the red zone on 4th and goal a couple times, and this team's going to be aggressive. They want to win the game, and keeping them in 3rd and long, not letting them get into 4th and manageable, 3rd and manageable to where it's an easier decision for them to go for it or create. Only need 3 yards, only need 2 yards to get a first down. That's going to be a lot. That's going to be a big factor in this game, is trying to keep them into those 3rd and longs. And on the other side of the ball for us, trying to stay out of those 3rd and longs. Far too often last game, and even a little bit in that first matchup, far too often on first down, they were blowing us up behind the line of scrimmage, and we were starting out 2nd and 12 because on first down, it was a 2-yard loss on a run play. Like stuff like that. We can't continuously get into 2nd and long, 3rd and long scenarios and have to rely and be one-dimensional and rely on the passing game. It's not going to be favorable for us. So we got to try to get into 3rd manageable, 2nd and manageable, get yards on first down. They're going to expect you to run it every time. It's going to be about dominating the line of scrimmage. We need to be the more physical team. We need to dominate them in the run game. Start off getting 3 to 5 yards per carry. Then it's in 2nd and 5 to 7 territory instead of 2nd and 12. That's huge. And then one last thing is just penalties. We had killer penalties. I know some of them were absolute bull crap. Some of the late hits, the David Andrews standing up for his quarterback, all this stuff, that Trent Brown talking to the other team. Like, there's a bunch of baloney penalties, but you can't risk any of that this game. It's a wild card game. One penalty, one play can change the game, and your season could be over.
Yeah, and you hit on it. These two teams are both top 10 in offensive 3rd down conversion and defensive 3rd down conversion. Buffalo's first in the league in opponent 3rd down conversion. So on defense, when they're on defense, they're only allowing 30% conversions on 3rd down. That's massive. New England has to establish the line of scrimmage, has to establish the run game, and make those 3rd and manageables. And then New England, they're 5th in the league at 36% opponent 3rd down conversion. So that's what we just talked about, getting them in 3rd and longs instead of 3rd and manageables, where they're going to be pass heavy and it's easier to sit, pass things off, play man, bring some pressure. And then you flip down to the offensive 3rd down conversions. Buffalo's 3rd in the league at 46%. And one of these is going to have to give, whether it's our offense or their defense or our defense and their offense. And one of them is going to give. New England's offensive 3rd down conversion percentage is 43%. So they're neck and neck. And this is going to be one of the other big keys to the game, along with the turnovers, is whose offense can stay on the field for longer, sustain drives, and score touchdowns in the red zone. Getting 3 points against the Bills might work once or twice, but it's not going to work if you get in there 4 times. You got to get at least 2 touchdowns, hopefully 3 touchdowns in the red zone, and you got to put 7 points on there and make their offense feel like they have to press the ball down the field and, make mistakes. Because I still think Josh Allen, as good of an arm as he has, sometimes they get impatient. Brian Daboll as offensive coordinator, Josh Allen, they want to push the ball down the field. They want to make the flashy plays. They want to score in 3-4 plays, 75 yards and hit a couple big passes. So I think that you can get them off their game a little bit if you get up early on them. And that's kind of the same against New England. If New England gets down early, we've seen it the last 4 weeks. They're not an explosive offense that way. They're explosive when they can establish the line of scrimmage, run the ball, set up play action passes, and set up screens. So it's a different type of explosion from these two offenses. It's who can play their game better. And as far as we've seen, Buffalo's the harder team right now, but in the playoffs, I ain't doubting New England at all. I mean, I don't want to believe that it's just going to be, it's playoff time, let's flip a switch, New England's going to be ready to go. But I do believe that Bill Belichick is going to have this team ready, and they're not going to come in and lay an egg. And if they do, it'll be very disappointing.
I really hope you're right. I am a little bit concerned. I think we go far in the playoffs if we don't have to come from behind. I agree with this guy right here. if we can start fast, that is such a big deal in playing a full 60-minute game. That's what we're gonna have to do against Buffalo. We can't play 45 minutes. We can't play 30 minutes. We certainly can't play 15 minutes. We just play in the fourth quarter. We need to play a full 60-minute ball game, score when we have the opportunities, be good in the red zone, be good on third down, and red zone defense needs to be good. Third down defense needs to be good. Our offense on third down, we were 1 for 10 last game. So bad on third down, like you mentioned. That needs to change. And that kind of starts with getting into third and more manageable instead of being in third and long all the time. So it's going to be tough, but that's kind of what they got to do if they want a chance at winning this football game is be better on third down, be better in the red zone on both sides of the football, apply pressure, keep a clean pocket for Mac, dominate both lines of scrimmage, because if we're getting pushed around by Buffalo's defensive and offensive line, it's going to be a long day. And Josh Allen's going to have free reign, sit back there in the pocket, chop up our defense. If all we got is JC, Miles Bryant, and a couple practice squatters as our defensive backs, it's going to be a long night if we can't get pressure on Josh Allen and force him to make mistakes, force him to turn the ball over. Like you mentioned earlier, you can't turn the ball over and win this game. In the 3 losses out of the past 4 games that we've had, I think our turnover differential is like -6 or -7, something bad. It's you can't do that. Over our win streak, we were second in turnover differential in the NFL for the year, and now this past stretch we've dropped quite a bit because it's just been poor. The Jacksonville game obviously saved us a little bit, but it hasn't been a great stretch in these past 3 games against good quality opponents. And it's because we're starting slow, turning the ball over, making mistakes, penalties, shooting ourselves in the foot. Granted, some of the penalties are not great. But it's gonna be a tough game. Josh McDaniels kind of touched on the weather a little bit. He said the temperature won't really change how he calls plays. It would more be the wind or rain or conditions like that, which I don't think it's projected right now to be that, but it's going to be cold. And it'll be interesting to see how the Patriots versus Buffalo deals with that. Usually you like to say Patriots are a better team in adverse weather conditions, but the Bills have been playing in Buffalo for a while. It's always cold there, so they should be adapted to the cold by now. They did practice inside today. The Bills did. Patriots practiced outside. But it's colder in Buffalo than it has been here all year. It's like they didn't practice the other day when it was like -20. But they just practiced today. It was probably 15 to 20 degrees here, and it's going to be about 0, maybe below 0 in Buffalo Saturday night. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of different factors. What concerns me is just how cold this team has been. I have hope because of how they've always bounced back. That shows me that, okay, they're still playing good football. It's just not for a whole game. So that shows me they're capable of still playing really good football. They just haven't been able to do it in key situations, which is concerning because every situation in the playoffs is a key situation. You need to stop as often as you can to win these games. It can come down to one play, one stop, one drive. So our defense needs to do a better job at making those plays when they have them, and our offense needs to not turn the ball over. And if our defense can get one turnover, on Josh Allen, and our offense takes care of the football, I like our chances. But it's just going to be about executing, not shooting yourself in the foot, staying away from stupid penalties, and just doing your job, trying to dominate the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a lot of different factors that the Patriots have to do correctly to win this football game. And if they do that, I think they have a chance. But they just haven't shown me over the past month that they can do that on a consistent basis, which is where my concern lies.
Yeah, there's definitely a reason to be concerned, and I think all Patriots fans are feeling that. I'm looking at these stats right now. I'm actually blown away by this stat. This actually is a very good stat that I was actually not aware of. New England's red zone scoring percentage the last 3 games is 92%. So we've talked about red zone scoring issues. New England the last 3 games hasn't really had those. And I think that if I have it right, like they haven't been in it too much either. Like, I mean, they were 3 for 4 last week. So that's 75%, and getting in it 4 times is good. If you have, 8 drives, 9 drives a game, that's half the times. But we're scoring at 92%, and they're still 11th on the year. For all the red zone struggles we had early in the season, they're still at a 61% on the season scoring in the red zone. And then you flip that over to the defensive side. New England's second in the league, allowing 47% touchdowns in the red zone when they're on defense. So for as bad as we've seen this team be in the offense or in the red zone, and as limited as they've been, that 92% the last 3 games, I wasn't even aware of that. That's a mind-blowing stat. And that is far and away the best in the, well, okay, Dallas is 100% because they went like 11 straight drives of scoring. But that's far and away. The Chargers are 75% after that. Like that's far and away the best in a 3-game span. That's really good. Yeah, Jacksonville was in there, but Buffalo, that would have been the Buffalo game too. Would have been that game if we're talking the last 3. So that's an encouraging stat right there. You know, everyone wants to say that they're having struggles in the red zone, but they're trending upwards on that. And then, like you said, you know, this is a cold weather team. And Buffalo had to go inside. You can't practice in negative 20-degree weather. Like there's a difference from being dumb and like a tough dumbass. That's what our football coach always says. Like you can be a tough guy and then a tough dumbass. Like practicing in 20-degree weather, it's just horrible field conditions to practice. You're going to get someone hurt. I mean, heck, frostbite, honestly, like at that temperature, if you're out there for 2 hours, frostbite is something that you have to worry about. So people might say, oh, they're weak, they're practicing inside, but I bet Bill would do the same thing for that. And the one thing that does worry me is we're still a young team, and a lot of these guys haven't experienced cold like this, especially in the playoffs. I mean,
That's
Mac
my
Jones,
concern.
yeah, I mean, Kendrick Bourne even coming from the West Coast, like
San
a lot of these
Francisco.
guys are not used to this cold weather in, you know, the start of January, middle of January. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do. They're still professionals, and everyone has to play with it. Like you got to get used to it. If you want to play in New England, you knew signing here or getting drafted here that you're going to have to play in cold weather. I mean, Buffalo's in your division. The Jets will be in your division if they're ever again in the playoffs. And then it's obviously cold in Foxborough. So you knew this was part of signing with New England. So I don't think that they're going to be scared of it, but it is a totally different game when you're in the cold. I mean, your hands get cold. It hurts to catch the ball. Your helmet freezes over. Everything gets stiff. You go on the sidelines for 5 minutes. You feel like you need to stretch again to get ready. Half times are horrible because you go back in, you get all warm, and then you come out and you're freezing. I mean, it's a totally different game, especially when it's damn near 0 degrees. So it'll be interesting to see this again. I mean, now we've seen 2 cold games in Buffalo, and we'll see how they react to the second one, because the first one, they definitely played the game they wanted to play, and they came out with a win.
Yeah, and it's just as much of a mental game, the cold weather, as it is a physical problem. So, well, it's going to test these guys, but that's my concern as well. I mean, Mac Jones is from Jacksonville. He played at Alabama at college after that. Kendrick Bourne from the West Coast, Hunter Henry from the West Coast, both playing in California. Plenty of new guys that haven't experienced this Foxborough weather, along with the playoffs. I mean, we got young guys. We got Barmore, Mac, Ramondre, even Hunter Henry. I don't think has played a playoff game yet. Jalen Mills has, Trent Brown, Van Noy, all those guys obviously know. Judon has played, and he's played in some chilly weather. But there's a lot of guys in this team that either haven't played in this type of cold weather or haven't played in these type of big game environments like this. So it's going to be great to see how this team handles it. And I'm a little bit concerned. I'm just nervous because I feel like this is a big test for the future. And if this team can pull off an upset against Buffalo, down some pieces and pull out a good game plan, play 60 minutes of good football, it's going to show a lot about what this team can be in the future. And if this team kind of lays down and has a really tough game and just lets Buffalo dominate them the entire game, that's also might show a decent amount about the future of this team. And that, hey, some of these guys, maybe people will say, oh, it's only one game, which it may be, but I hope these guys step up to the challenge, step up to the plate, and I hope they fight hard, because it's the division game, third time around. These teams shouldn't like each other, and it's going to be whoever wins the dogfight. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a dogfight. So whoever comes out on top is going to be the tougher, more physical team the entire game, and who executes the best and makes the least amount of mistakes. That's what playoff football is about. And it doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be clean, can be a little bit sloppy. As long as you come up with a win, that's all that matters. So it doesn't matter if Mac Jones has 10 yards passing and has 100 yards rushing for some reason. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it gets done. It's just got to get done.
Yeah. To, kind of highlight our first quarter slow start, struggles we've had in the last 3 games right here. So New England on the season is averaging 4.5 points per in the first quarter. Their last 3 games, they're averaging under 2 points. I mean, we're just talking about it, how slow of a start they're getting off. And I mean, yeah, you're not going to score a safety. I mean, knock on wood, hopefully we do get a safety, but when you're scoring 2 points over 3 games in the first quarter on average, I mean, that's maybe 1 touchdown. I can't think back to a game where we've scored in the last 3, at least, where we've scored in the first, I guess it would have been Miami. Did we go down and kick a field goal and make it 14-3? Or we might have scored a touchdown in Miami. But anyways,
we were down 17-zip at one point.
You're right. So
early on.
I mean, it might have been all the way back to the Buffalo game before when we last scored in the first quarter. So I mean, it's going to be a talk, and we've already hit on it. It's starting fast. I mean, these guys the Buffalo fans are going to go crazy. This is one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. They don't care if it's rain, shine, snow, if the freaking world is ending. They're going to be there, and they're going to be jumping on tables, and they're going to be drunk, and they're going to be loud and obnoxious and crazy. And, it's going to be a crazy atmosphere, even more crazy than what any New England fan has ever experienced, because now it's the playoffs. It matters. So this is going to be a good test for a young team going on the road, going up there and, beating a team that pretty much just took all the steam out of them 3 weeks ago when they played them and beat them in their home stadium, especially to get back the AFC East, to lock that up, or to, at least take over for it. So I'm excited to see how they bounce back on this. It's kind of like a little revenge game. And there's two ways you respond to this. You either come out and you're super excited to play and you're excited to compete, or you're kind of, deer in the headlights, and the moment's too big for you, and you're a little shell shocked, and maybe a little intimidated because, oh, this is the Bills, and this is a preseason favorite to win the AFC East, blah, yada yada yada. Like, you can go all into it. This young team has to come out and respond, and they have to be ready to play this game, because if not, their season's over, and they're looking at 7 months before they play another game.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with everything you just said there. Boston headline said, "I love how Matt can bounce back after making quite a few times, but the times he bounces back, there isn't enough time on the clock." Yeah. So versus the Colts, he threw 3 touchdowns in the last quarter, but couldn't do that in other quarters. Bounce back against Miami. We need to do that sooner, not in the fourth quarter. And then Mac Jones knee brace says Mac doesn't seem to get rattled by his mistakes. Probably my favorite thing about him. Hopefully he can eliminate those few mistakes, because we're going to need a perfect game from both sides of the ball. I couldn't agree more with both those guys. We're going to need a good, clean game from Mac. And I do love how he's resilient. I do love how he cares about the game so much. He's passionate, and he doesn't get rattled too easily. He bounces back. It's what he does. He doesn't get gun shy when he makes a mistake. He keeps fighting. He keeps trying to win the football game no matter how much they're down. And I love that. He tries to keep the team up, good spirits. And if you take away his pick six and that fumble that he had, there were some really nice throws he made against Miami. I mean, I think he averaged like 9.8 yards per attempt or something like that, which was one of his higher on the year. He had a couple really nice throws to Jacoby, couple to Hunter Henry, one to Aguilar across the field on a deep comeback route. He had a lot of really nice throws, and he looked a lot more comfortable once he got in his groove a little bit. But we can't have those slow starts. We can't have those mistakes, those pick sixes. We can't have any of that. If we want to win this football game, it's going to take a clean game. And I haven't seen any signs from him that the moment is going to be too big. I haven't seen that yet. I mean, week 4, his 4th NFL game against the Bucs, Tom Brady back in town, and he didn't shy away from that at all. He was the better quarterback that night, which is crazy to say. So I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. I'm just concerned about overall all these guys in general executing, no mistakes, defense playing well, limiting the amount of opportunities that the Bills get, all those things that we just talked about. We just got to see a clean football game if we want to have a chance. And I hope they do it. I hope they pull it off, because there'd be no better feeling than to pull that off at Buffalo Stadium and then try to go on a little run here. Even if they don't go on a run after this, if they just win this football game against Buffalo, that's such a good sign for the future. First year, upsetting Buffalo on the road, showing that this division could be ours real soon. That's great news. So the environment's going to be tough, but what's going to be even tougher is if they get behind early and let the Bills fans get involved. That's what they did against the Colts. The Colts fans got involved early. That stadium was rocking. That stadium was loud. The dome going crazy. And then it's just even more of an uphill climb. Like if you're down 17 at your home stadium, it's going to be quiet. You're not going to have to worry about noise, anything like that. But if you're down 17-0 on the road and with Bills Mafia there, they're going to be going crazy in a playoff game. It's going to be wild. So you can't let that happen. If you get a lead, you silence the crowd. That's going to be very beneficial. So I can't emphasize enough how big the first quarter is in this football game. And I'm just concerned that we're going to start slow like we have the past few weeks. And I mean, it's kind of been a season-long problem for the defense. It's like every first drive, it seems like we had no game script to stop anything. And then we adjust. And that's not going to work in this game. If we let them get an early lead, every point's going to count. So if we let them drive down the field on the first drive and get a touchdown, and then we don't respond, it's not going to be a great sign for the football game. And that's what I'm concerned about, because we've seen that a lot over the course of the year.
Yeah, I love Mac Jones' composure too. That's something that I loved coming out of college from him. I think he's very mature, being a 5th-year senior. I mean, after the loss last week, he pretty much just threw himself under the bus. Like, that's me. That's on me. Like, it's embarrassing the way I played. And taking responsibility like that as a young quarterback in the NFL, that takes some ownership and leadership. And the guys seem to respect it. They answered. They're like, it's great that he's standing up for it. Although, everyone can play better. It's never on one player, but Max seems to be good about, taking the blame for it, being a great leader, not pointing his finger at other guys. He's like, listen, that's my fault. Like he said, the Ted Karras fumble, that's my fault. And who knows what it actually was. If it was Mac, it looked like he kind of got out of there early, but that's new chemistry. He's probably never taken an in-game snap from Ted Karras. I know he never has. That was one of the first, if not the first. And, it turns into a huge play, but he takes blame for it. He doesn't point fingers at Ted and throw him under the bus. He builds him up and says, hey, he's going to be better. He's been great all year. So I love it. Mac Jones's composure. That's, like I said, that's what I loved about him in college. I mean, you think about NFL to NCAA stadiums, he's playing in Texas A&M in Georgia. That's 95 to 105,000 fans screaming at you. NFL games, the biggest stadium, 68,000. You're having almost 33% more fans in there screaming, or almost 50% more fans in there screaming at you. The whole fan base. NFL stadiums can be separated. You saw when we played the Chargers, there's more Patriots fans there, and it was a home game for the Chargers. You go to Georgia, yeah, maybe like 100 or 200 Alabama fans because the parents come or something. Like the whole student section's there, college kids, like the atmospheres in college stadiums. I'm not saying the games are bigger, but the atmospheres are definitely crazier. And he goes into the national championship game, in front of 68, 70,000 people, sets a playoff record, 464 yards, 80% of his throw. He completes 80% of his throws, and they beat Ohio State, who just demolished Trevor Lawrence 54-24. Like the kid just has composure, and that's what he's about. And that's why people said that he was the most pro-ready quarterback out of college.
And Smith was done before halftime, wasn't he, too?
Yeah, he had 200 yards at halftime, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
And he didn't play. And Waddle was coming off an ankle injury. So, so
he was really limited. He was limping around, hobbling everywhere.
Yes. So he's thrown to John Mechie, who's a great receiver, but he had a great year this year. Jamison Williams was at Ohio State. He wasn't even at Alabama then. He's thrown to Slade Bolden, who, that's a good receiver. He's thrown to Cameron Latu, tight ends. Like he had Najee Harris and a really good offensive line, but the kid just has composure. It's what he does. That's why people want to say it's so like Brady-esque, and maybe that's, people jump to conclusions and say that, but the composure he's showing as a rookie and as a young guy, just comes in, does his job, composed, doesn't freak out at the moment. It must be the Alabama blood, because Bryce Young is really like that too. He's just so calm, cool, and collected, and they go out there and they're ballers. So I love Mac Jones. I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. I just hope that he comes out and performs and can prove it to everyone else.
Yeah, I agree. I hope so too. It's not going to be all on Mac's shoulders for sure. Everybody else is going to have to step up too. If we keep playing like we're playing as a team, as a unit on defense and offense, it's not going to go well. So it starts with Mac, starts with the quarterback. He's got the ball in his hands the most, but everybody's going to hold their end of the bargain and carry their weight. It's going to be a fun game. And I hope it's competitive. I hope this team shows heart, starts fast, and plays their best game of the year. Because if they do, they get a real shot, and they could upset Buffalo on the road. But it's certainly going to be an uphill battle, especially with some of the injuries we have. We'll see how that goes throughout the week. But Bills are extremely healthy. They don't have any injuries. They don't have anybody on the COVID list. They're perfectly fine right now. I hope we go in there, start fast, smack them in the mouth, and set the tone for the game early, because I think that'll be a big aspect of this football game. Aguilar is good to go. He doesn't have the concussion anymore. He played this past week. I don't know the Patriots model for the playoffs. Do you, Jace?
No, I was just saying, I was just looking it up. They have not announced one yet. So maybe coming up in the next couple of days, but they have not announced it.
And then Bills fans smell. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Yep. I agree with that as well.
I can smell them from here. They're so smelly. They suck. Because they don't wash themselves. They just jump on tables, get beer all over them, and then just rinse
ketchup, mustard. They do They do all that. Yeah. That's funny. All right. What do you think? Let's get into the
let's get into the game picks. Yeah, let's do it. Let's hop into these game picks. And then at the end, stick around. We have our Super Bowl predictions here. We're going through the whole playoffs. So let's get into the game picks. So
let's see. All right. Pats at Bills, Saturday night, 8:15. Bills -4. What do you got on this one?
Bills -4. Well, if the Patriots win, they cover that. And I have the Patriots winning. So I'm giving the Bills -4. I have faith in them. And, I might be naive, and I definitely am worried. I told you before the show, like, my confidence level's under 50%. But it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. We've already been up there one time. We already beat them. I'm excited. The Duggar situation and the Mills situation is definitely scary. Like, I'm not gonna ignore that. It's definitely scary. But I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I think that they're gonna do it. I love the storyline. I think that this would be, a good bounce back after the disappointing finish, and they're gonna be ready to go up there and beat them.
Is that your real pick or your Patriots fan pick?
Oh, that's my real pick, baby. I put money on it.
Under 50% confidence level, but that's your real pick. That doesn't really, it would be over 50% if you thought they were going to win. No, it's not. All right. Well, I got the Bills. I got the Bills.
I don't
covering
make
this
sense.
one.
I don't make sense. So
It's all right. I don't either. So it's all good. I got the Bills covering this one though. The -4, and then we'll go over under 44 points. What do you got on this one?
I have the under here, especially with the weather conditions. Last time they were in Buffalo, I think that New England does a lot better job than what they did game 2. They control it with the offensive line, and I don't think that New England, hopefully, knock on wood, they don't have as bad of a game, and Cole Beasley or Isaiah McKenzie doesn't go off for 100+ yards, and we can keep Josh Allen in the pocket. But I'm going to have faith. I'm going to go under here too because of the weather conditions also.
I'm gonna go over. I don't really love it. But I'm just concerned that the Bills are going to get some points on the board with our secondary being depleted like it's been. It scares me, and I don't think they'll have any mercy, especially if they get a lead. But I don't think they'll take their foot off the gas. It's a playoff game. They want to make sure they win. So that's my concern a little bit is if they start to figure stuff out and Josh Allen's running all over the place, it could be scary. I really hope they execute well, keep him in the pocket, force him to make some tough throws, and he's there. I'd be shocked if he plays as good of a game as he did last time because he played so close to perfect. I mean, he made one, maybe two mistakes, and one of them should have been a pick six. That's one thing about this team is that recently, outside of the Jaguars game, in these big games, we haven't been making the plays. Devin McCourty's had like 4 balls in his hand in the past month, and he hasn't caught any of them. So we got to make those plays. JC's got to make that catch next time. If he gets that opportunity again for a pick six in a playoff game, you've got to catch that football. I know it was a tough catch. I know he was kind of slipping and diving at the same time, but we got to make those plays. Anybody who gets their hands on the ball, you got to try to pick it off, get a turnover. That is huge in a playoff game. So I got the over on this one, but I hope we can contain him, and I find it hard to believe that he's going to play as perfect as a game as he did last time.
Same with N'Keal Harry. He's had like 4 balls in his hands and hasn't caught one of them in the past month, but
and
that's okay.
That's even worse because he's a receiver. That's his job. But geez,
you're right. All right. Well, score predictions right here. Cole, I'll let you go first since you have the Bills beating us by 10.
Yeah, I'm nervous about the. I think the Jalen Mills loss is huge. I really do. He's been great for us this year. Now you got JC on Stephon Diggs, who also kind of had a good game against JC a little bit, made some plays on him. And then who do you got? You got Miles Bryant on Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders. And then there's Isaiah McKenzie as well. And then they have Gabriel Davis, is it?
Yeah, Gabriel Davis.
Who has been a nice red zone guy for them, and he's made some plays. So, I mean, they got a ton of receivers. I don't know who's going to be on the field for us. It's going to be practice squad guys. We have 2 corners on the COVID list right now. Wade and Mills. So we're going to have that new guy who just signed the practice squad this week. Either he's going to have to step up or I don't know. It's going to be ugly. Our cornerback depth if we can't have Mills or Wade out there on Sunday. So that really scares me. And it stinks because I feel like if we were fully healthy and they were fully healthy, it'd be a really close game. I feel like it'd be a 3-point game, 2-point game. I'm just concerned that it's going to be too much. I mean, the talent deficit on cornerback compared to their wide receivers and their passing game, I feel like it's going to be too much. Unless our defensive line can all of a sudden step up and start putting pressure on quarterbacks again, I think it's going to be a long night.
It definitely can be a long night, but it's not going to be. That's why I have New England winning by 3, 20-17. I'm going to go. I guess we can say this is a hot take since that's the next segment, but I'm going to go New England's defense gets the big stop we've been looking for. It's going to be a nail biter, in my opinion. New England's defense gets a big stop, whether it's a takeaway or a 3rd down stop when they're driving or a 4th down stop, whatever it is. I think New England's defense gets the big stop finally for once this year. I mean, not for once, but We haven't seen it in a while. So I'm going to go with they get that big stop and they're able to squeak it out by either a field goal or something else. So I'm going 2017 New England. I have full faith here.
Hope you're right. I really do. What you got on this one? Over under 8 tables smashed in the parking lot. I'm gonna go way over, but that's just me.
Oh, I think there's going to be 8 tables smashed in Utah by Bills fans, and that's where I live. Like they're going to be smashing them everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go every table in a 10-mile radius of the stadium is not safe. Like dining tables, kitchen tables, granite tables, any table that can be jumped on is going to be jumped on by Bills Mafia.
I'd have to agree with you there. Boston Headline said, I saw something that Nikhil has as many catches as James White this season with 12 each. I wouldn't be surprised. And what, James White got knocked out week 2, 3?
Was it 2?
Against the Jets, wasn't it? I think so. I could be wrong.
The first Jets game or the second Jets game? So he got hurt he got hurt in New Orleans. Very early in New Orleans.
Week 3,
so
okay.
Week 3.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a big loss. He would have been helpful this year with Mac Jones, especially with the checkdowns once in a while. The running backs, Brandon Bolden's kind of replaced that role. He's been pretty solid for us, but yeah, that's sad. I mean, first round pick. Don't get me started. I can't. All right, moving on from Nikhil. How much of a factor will no Jalen Mills be this weekend? I mean, we just kind of touched on it. I think it's going to be a huge factor. Unfortunately, it's going to be a huge factor, and that's one of the main reasons why I picked the Bills by 10. I was going to have it a little bit of a closer game. I still probably would have picked the Bills, but it probably would have been by like 3 instead of by 10. I know Jalen Mills doesn't seem like a touchdown of a difference, and maybe he's not, but I just think the lack of depth we have there, missing the guy who's been so solid for us this year, I think that's a big factor. And I don't know. We really struggled last game. Let them have 33 points. We only put up 21. And it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, especially if he's out, along with maybe a guy like Jamie Collins.
Yeah, it's going to be something that's tough to overcome, and we'll see how they do it, and if it's a collective effort or if one guy can step up and do it. But it's definitely going to be something that is hard to overcome because of the lack of depth that we've talked about for weeks on this podcast. Is the cornerback depth once we traded Gilmore has not been good, so that definitely will be scary. But let's get into it. Oh, you got it.
Another big factor is Isaiah Wynn, which we touched on a little bit, but who's going to play left tackle? You know what I mean? Is Trent going to swing there? Probably not. I don't think. Is that Michael Onwenu going to start playing left tackle? I don't know. I feel like it's too late. But Justin Herron being in the starting offensive line, for a playoff game, that's scary. I don't want to see that. So that's a big factor as well in my decision making. Isaiah Wynn has been crappy. He's been up and down this year. Hasn't been his best year by far, but he's still a better offensive tackle than a guy like Justin Herron. So that's going to be a tough loss as well.
Yeah, and let's see. I'm trying to pull it up right here on PFF, but as bad as Isaiah Wynn has been, he's been a pretty dang good run blocker, according to PFF. And I can't pull. Oh, wait, maybe I have it right here. Let's see if I don't find it right now. He was pretty high up there. I can't find it right now. Oh, right now he's 24th in the league at a 75 grade run block, which is better than a lot of the league. So he hasn't been as bad as people think have thought, especially in the run game. When this run game wants to get going, it's big to have him. So that will be a big loss. If it's Herron, I mean, they got a couple young guys, Gregory Rousseau, or how do you say it?
Rousseau.
Rousseau. Yep. So it will be it'll be scary to see how they replace that. I personally, I don't think that moving Michael Onwenu over there is the answer, because then that takes away the sets of the 6 offensive linemen in there, or unless you want to move like Justin Herron to that 6 tackle, and then now you're running. I mean, it's so hard when you go Hunter or Michael Onwenu or Hunter Henry, Michael Onwenu, Trent Brown, and then Shaq Mason on the whole right side, and you're just like, okay, well, we're probably going to run here, stop us. That takes a little bit of power out of the punch if you put Justin Herron there at that 6th guy, and then now you just have Michael Onwenu on the left side. So it's going to be interesting. Either way, whoever they put there, I think it takes away an aspect from us that we could definitely use.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see what they think is the best option in that aspect. I don't know. I feel like we have done 6 offensive line sets quite often, but I feel like it's not going to be nearly as often as obviously having Onwenu at that left tackle and being a steady force there the entire game. He played so well at right tackle that I just want somebody who we can trust at left tackle. And Haran is not that guy. I don't trust him. I trust him even less than Isaiah Wynn, which kind of says a lot. But it's going to be tough. There's so many things that this team has to overcome and fix so quickly. That's why I predicted them to lose by 10. It's just there's too many obstacles, I feel like. And if they can overcome all these obstacles, then there's no telling how far this team can go, because it'd be impressive. But I just see it being a little bit too much for them to overcome this week, this fast, in a short week with guys on the COVID list, injuries. I don't see it quite yet.
All right. Well, we already got some hot takes coming in. Pat Scout IG, obviously saying a lot of them. So this is the hottest take of all. Mac Jones knee brace. N'Keal has 5 catches. I think a hot take for you should be Mac Jones keeps his knee brace on all game, because that doesn't seem very likely now. But Pat Scout IG, Jacoby has a passing touchdown this week, calling it. I could see it. They have a track record of doing trick plays with Amendola, with Edelman, with guys like that. So yeah, it would not surprise me. I think that's a very good hot take.
I think they'll have a couple tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah, I think they have to, right? They got to keep this defense off balance and try to get one. So Crayvon LeBron gets called up and has a pick. All right. Cole, do you want to take the Miles Bryant pick one, since last time he didn't? Or maybe you shouldn't take it, because then he will have a pick. That's what it is.
I'll say Miles Bryant allows 325 yards receiving. Just kidding.
When he does that, though, that's going to be horrible.
Oh, goodness.
Mac has 3 carries for -3 rushing yards.
Hey, 3 kneels. 3 kneels to end the game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. Victory formation right there. Jonnu scores on a jet sweep in the red zone. That'd be nice to see. He has gotten close. I think the other one would be Kendrick Bourne on a jet sweep. He's gotten close too. And then Dame continues to be the Bills' daddy. All right. I hope so. I hope that him and Ramondre are both their daddies and stuff. So do you have any hot takes, Cole?
I guess I'll say Damien has 3 touchdowns again. I don't really have a ton in mind. Just I guess my score prediction. I guess they missed an extra point in my score prediction, and that's where they get the 20. Damien has 3 touchdowns on the ground. I do think it's going to be a lower scoring game. So I don't love that, but I don't really have any that. Maybe I could come up with some hot takes for the Bills on the Patriots this week, but I don't see us having a ton of success where there's going to be any crazy numbers that are being put up, but I hope I'm wrong.
All right. Well, I'm going to go defensively. I'm going to go Judon. He gets back on track. 2 sacks. I'm going to go 2 sacks for Judon. He's got to come back sometime. Like, he played at such a high caliber. He's 2 weeks out of COVID protocol now. Hopefully the practice has been helping him get back on track. So I'm going to go with Judon 2+ sacks. We need it. We need him to have 2 sacks. Like, that would be huge.
That'd be huge.
Getting pressure. And then the other one is we go +2 in the turnover margin. We also need that. We also need it. Whether it's 3-1 or 2-0, we got to go. You got to be positive, but +2. I mean, I've shared this stat before. You've said it. If you're +2 in the turnover margin, it's like 85+% win percentage. So that will be a massive key to this game. I'm going to say they do it. +2 in the turnover margin.
I like this one as well. Cole Beasley chips another tooth. That's a hot take. I mean, predicting that. Cole Beasley finally blocks Pat Scout. That's a good one.
All right. How many complaints or bad calls does Sean McDermott complain about, is what I should ask. All of them. Every single one that goes against Buffalo. Even
if they get one called correctly, he'll still probably bitch about it because he's just soft. Don't get me started on. That's what kills me the most about this, is if we lose to Sean McDermott. I hate that guy. He's so annoying.
Yeah, that's definitely it. So if you guys keep having them, keep throwing them in the comments. Cole, do you have any more?
Nope, that's all I got. I don't really have any this game, unfortunately. But
yeah. We'll see. So before we get into our over-unders for the player picks and then the Super Bowl predictions, we're going to have Boston.headline on IG. He's coming into the stream right now. We're going to ask him a couple questions. Let's start off here, Boston, with your hot takes. We just did hot take segment. Do you have any hot takes for this game?
No, I couldn't really think of any.
Okay, well that's fine. Well, let's go ahead and let's just give us your score prediction right here. What's your confidence level for this game, and who do you have winning?
Um, Score predictions, I'd say like I know it's gonna be close, so I'm saying like 24-20 Patriots. I just want to give you another thing. Like I'm kind of sick right now, so sorry about my voice.
Oh no, we're gonna get COVID through the mic.
And then my confidence level, probably like 60%. If it just really depends on how like that first drive goes for us. If we can't do anything, then it's gonna be a long day.
And that was one of the biggest things was that second game. You saw it, that first drive that we had, first play, I think got blown up for -2 yards on the ground, and it got us into second and long, and that just kind of set the tone early for the game. I think we went 3 and out, and that's just not a great sign early. So I like what you said there. I agree. Getting up to a fast start in that first quarter, but those first drives in general, if you could stop Buffalo and we can put some points on the board, that'd be great. Getting ahead early, I think that gives us a much better chance.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, it's what we've talked about all along. And I'm not down on New England's ability to come back because we've seen them come back. But when you get in holes that are literally so hard to come out of, especially in the NFL, 14-0, 17-0, when you get down quick like that, that's so hard to overcome, especially when you're on the road in a playoff game in crappy situations. So I agree. What you said, right on the spot, it's what we've been saying pretty much this whole episode right now. And it's what most Pats fans should be worried about is us giving up 14 points in the first quarter and being down just like we saw against Miami, like we saw against Indianapolis and Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree. Headline: What do you think about the Patriots season so far this year? What were your initial expectations for them coming into the year, and how do you feel they've done so far compared to what you expected previously and once Mac Jones was named the starter?
Well, at the start of the season, like when we still had Cam Newton, I had high expectations. Like I thought we were gonna like go unbelievably, like probably where we are now. But now that we had Mac, a rookie quarterback, first year, and that we are 10-7, I'm pretty confident about the future because, oh my God, because like, oh my God, bro, whenever I get on these, I just go straight blank.
You're fine.
You're all set. Yeah, no, I think expectations for him. I mean, I kind of had the same feeling. Once Cam Newton was cut, I was kind of surprised. I had decent expectations for Cam in there. I thought Mac might start midway through the season or maybe not even start at all this year. So I think kind of where you were going with that is it's impressive where Mac has led this team to starting off from week 1 and leading this team to 7 wins. And it's been an up and down season for sure. But at least in my perspective, I think being at 10-7 and going through the adversity that they went through, starting out 2-4 and playing some really tough games, coming from behind a couple times and losing some close ones. I think he's gained a lot of experience in his rookie year. And I think for my expectations, at least he's surpassed them so far.
Yeah. So we uploaded a clip today. I don't know if you saw it, but we were talking about expectations. I said, if you were to tell Patriots fans before the season, we go 10-7 and we get the 6th seed in the playoffs, would you have said you're crazy, or would you have said that's right after they announced they're cutting Cam Newton and starting Mac Jones? Do you think that was a crazy thing to think of? So what I'm asking is, have we exceeded your expectations or not exceeded them since Mac Jones was announced as a starter?
Yeah, they exceeded my expectations. Like I still thought we could have got 11 or 12 wins if we weren't like turning over the ball or doing dumb stuff like that. But they exceeded my expectations because, I mean, I'm fine as long as we go to the playoffs because anything can happen in the playoffs. So I feel like once you're in the playoffs, like it's kind of a reset. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like 0-0. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and some of the players talked about it in interviews this week. It's both teams' records is 0-0. It's a brand new season. The playoffs is a whole different monster. It's a whole different ball game. Anything can happen. Anybody can beat anybody. And especially division games, which are always crazy. It's going to be a much different game than the first game, much different game than the second game. It's going to be a whole different ball game, and anything can happen. So hopefully the Patriots come out on top. But It is a whole different environment, playoff atmosphere. Everybody's mindset's different. Everybody's giving 100% each play. There's no plays off. Everybody is going to be out there as much as they can, and every play counts. Every play matters, and that could be the difference between going home or going to a Super Bowl is one play, which is crazy to think about.
For sure. Well, Boston Headline, thank you for coming in. Guys, that's Boston.headline on IG. He is 11 followers away from 3.8K. So go get him to that. Follow him. While you gotta go follow mine and Cole's Instagram too if you haven't gotten there. But hey, thanks for coming on again, and we'll go Patriots this week.
I just have to say one more thing. For how do you guys feel about Edelman dropping $100K on the Pats versus Bucks Super Bowl?
I love it. He's a Patriot man through and through, man.
I love it, but he's delusional in my opinion. That's in my mind. If I had $100,000, I would be doing a lot of different things with it outside of betting it on the Patriots Bucks for Super Bowl. I think he might be burning money there a little bit. I could see it if they were still going on this win streak and had the stretch they were having, and the Bucks didn't have some of the injuries they've had, key injuries, and Antonio Brown freaking out and running out of MetLife Stadium with the shirt off. But there's been a lot of adversity for both teams, and I'd be surprised if that was the matchup. I think if he won that though, he would get a significant amount of money. But I feel like that's just not a great smart investment with your $100,000. Go buy some Bitcoin or something instead.
Some NFTs.
There you go.
Well, I just hope we get past the first round.
That'd be nice. That'd be a success for the season for sure. Beating Buffalo in the first round, going to the divisional round, that'd be much higher than I had us going, and I think than anybody could have expected from Mac Jones and this team first year. So that'd be a great foundational year, and let's hope they do it. Let's hope they pull it off on Saturday night. All
right, one last thing. Thank you guys for having me on here. I'm sorry, like whenever I get on these, my head just goes blank.
You're absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine.
When we both started this, we were the same. So I mean, we doing it twice a week has helped for sure.
Even now, like a month ago, I just mid-sentence, I all of a sudden forgot what I was talking about. I completely
looked
blanked.
At the chat and he goes, "What was I saying?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really remember," because I was I read my topic.
Yeah, I read a comment in the chat and I just completely all of a sudden for some reason lost my train of thought, and I was like, I have no idea what I was saying, what I had planned to say, or what I previously said. I basically had no idea what was going on in my entire life at that point. So it just I completely understand. You're all set. I appreciate you coming on though.
All right, see you.
See you.
All right. Well, I just looked it up. So Julian Edelman, he had two bets, which $50K on each of the Patriots and Bucks making the Super Bowl. The payout would be $545,000, so a little bit over $500,000, $445,000 profit.
Not too bad.
His dad did not seem to. His dad called him supposedly and said, "I'm not mad. I just disagree." Okay, bye. That's the conversation he had.
He posted the conversation. He called his parents, and he posted the conversation on Instagram. It was funny. His mom was fine. She was like, "Well, if you win, give me some of the money." So
exactly.
His dad was like, "I'm not mad. I'm just okay, bye." It was funny. His dad's
That's what
hilarious.
my dad would be. So, cool. Well, let's get into our over unders here. Let's start off with Josh Allen. Josh Allen, he's averaging 215 yards against the Patriots per game in his what would this be? This will be his 9th game against the Patriots or 7th.
Wow, already?
Yeah, because he's been it's got to be 7 or 9, one of them. But anyways, he's averaging 215 against the Patriots. On the year, he's averaging 238 yards. Obviously, he threw for over 320 yards last time we played him. So I have this line set at 235.5 passing yards for Josh Allen.
I'm going to go over. I'm just worried about him versus secondary. I do think the Bills will try to run the ball more this game than they did in the past, because I think we're going to make them try to run the ball. And I think that's kind of going to be the game plan, is force the ball, get the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. That's going to give us the best chance possible. And then if they get down in the red zone, play red zone defense, force them to a field goal, and try to get as many points as you can on offense. I think that's kind of going to be the game plan. So I'm going to go over, but I don't think it's going to be by too much, even though I do think he'll have his success against our secondary, unfortunately. All
right. Well, this is tough because I don't want to go over, but I think he barely gets over it here. I agree with you. I think that we are going to make him run, but the Jalen Mills edition, it does scare me. And I mean, 235 yards for Josh Allen is pretty easy. Even though he's only averaging, 238 on the year. So I'm going to go over here. I hope it's under 2, but with the secondary we're missing here, I'm going to go say that that's a big loss, and he gets 236 and they still lose. That's my prediction.
You're right.
All right, Mac Jones, a little bit of a slow or not slow streak, but a little bit of a cold streak going on last couple games. So 205.5 passing yards.
I'm gonna go under. He in the 2 games we played Buffalo, he's combined for like 160 yards passing. So I'm gonna go seeing how that's under.
He only
this.
had like 3 in the first game.
I know.
So.
He had 145 last game though. Even though they were playing from behind a little bit, I think I'm just not that confident in this game. And I think if we're gonna have success, it should be on the ground. They have some really talented safeties. They're good at mixing things up, sending different unique pressures with those guys, and mixing up coverages and disguising things well. So that's a very synchronized defense that are good at doing a lot of different things and are really comfortable with each other. So I think it's a good defense. I think it's gonna be tough for Mac to get too crazy of numbers, but I hope he goes for 400. Then we probably win the game, huh?
For sure. Well, give me the over. He's seen them twice already. Third time seeing them. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels have prepared for Buffalo for, twice a year for the last 20 years. As long as both of us have been alive, probably. So I'm going to go with him going over. I don't think it's going to be crazy either. I mean, if he hits 300, I hope they better win, because if he hits 300, I mean, he's just playing absurd, and I hope that our defense can help him out a little and get it there. But I'm going to go over here. I think that, within the realm of 230, 250 is not too much to ask for, especially if we get the run game going. Give me the over here. Gabriel Davis, this is a guy I figure is going to eat because of Jalen Mills being out. JC Jackson, especially, going to be on Stephon Diggs. And the last 5 games, Gabriel Davis is averaging 48 yards. So I put it at 43.5 yards. He did have 85 3 weeks ago against Carolina. And then, right around 40 and high 30s every other game other than that. But he has scored a touchdown against us in the first game. So that's the one I figure, especially with Jalen Mills out. So over or under 43.5.
I'm going to go over because I think he'll have his success, but I think they will spread the ball out because they got plenty of weapons and the secondary is going to be thin. So I think anybody can win any matchup, unfortunately, for this Buffalo defense, for this Buffalo offense. I feel like we're going to play a lot of zone coverage because there's no way we can match up man-to-man with these guys if we're missing Jalen Mills and Sean Wade, and we're bringing a couple practice squatters up for the game. It's going to be a scary day. So it's probably going to be a lot of zone coverage, which stinks because not that they're playing zone. That doesn't stink. But I'm saying it's unfortunate because it makes our defense a lot more one-dimensional. Usually a great thing about Belichick's defense is, especially in the playoffs, like that year, the 2018 season, we played so heavy man coverage the whole year. Then in the Super Bowl, flipped it just like that. And it was completely the opposite. And that really screws with the team when they plan for heavy man coverage all week and then you play zone. I mean, that messes with their initial mindset, their whole game plan. They plan for something else. So I wish we had the identity that we could play man and zone this game to mix things up and confuse them. But it's probably going to be a lot of zone coverage. I think these guys, if we don't get pressure, I think any of these guys could eat. And I think Gabriel Davis could be the benefactor of Jalen Mills being out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over here too. I mean, I don't need to reiterate what you said. I agree with pretty much everything. So let's move on. Kendrick Bourne. We need him to have a big day. We need a Jacoby, Hunter Henry, need a lot of them to have a big day. But Kendrick Bourne, one of the biggest surprises this year, especially with his production. So I have him at 35.5 yards. It's pretty low, but it's right around his season average, surprisingly.
I'm going to go over. I think Nelson Aguilar, being a guy that can stretch the field, will open up some more opportunities for him than last time against Buffalo when Aguilar was out last time, right? Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So I think he'll have maybe a little more success than he had last time, and it'll open up some things for him, hopefully.
Yeah, give me the over. I think he, on any given Sunday, is the most likely Patriot receiver, I guess Saturday in this point, to go for 100 yards, unless Kendrick or Nelson Aguilar is to catch a deep one. But Jacoby or Kendrick are the two most likely, unless there's a deep ball caught by Aguilar. But let's move on to the running game.
When Jacoby throws a 70-yard touchdown to Aguilar this week, that's gonna be a good chunk of that right there.
Huge, so. Yes. So that's huge. All right, Devin Singletary. Last 5 games, he's averaging 75 yards per game. He had 88 against the Jets last week and 110 against Atlanta 2 weeks ago. So I have him at 60.5 rushing yards. Now, last time he played, he did carry the ball the most for Buffalo, but he only had 39 yards.
I'm going to go over. just because how I said I think the Patriots will play this game. It's going to force Buffalo to run the football, and I think they're going to have success because we haven't been great against the run recent weeks, especially. I don't know what's going on, but allowing almost 200 yards rushing to Miami, who's been not good at all against running the football this year. I just not confident in how this defense is performing right now, and I think they could have a good day on the ground and in the air, which not great, not a great recipe right there for the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under. I feel like 60 is a lot for Buffalo. I think that 100 is easy for Buffalo, but combined, and I don't think that you get a guy getting a chunk of it. Maybe Josh Allen, I'd go over on this 60, but I'm gonna go under for Singletary. I'm gonna, I agree with you. I think we're gonna make them run the ball, but 60 yards just seems like too much for me. It should be too much, but with how our defense is playing, you never know. So Damien Harris, 57.5 rushing yards for Damien Harris this week.
I'm going to go over. He had over 100 both games against Buffalo, and one of them he was out half the game. So I'm going to go over. I think he'd have a solid day. 57 yards isn't that much for Damien. When he's on, when they're committed to the run game. I think Buffalo's defense is going to try to stop it tremendously, which is going to make it more difficult. I don't think he'll have a 100-yard game again, but I could see it definitely being over 57, 60 yards.
Yeah, I'm going over too. I think that we get our run game going. It's what we want to do, and we don't play from behind, and we're able to control the clock. So I'm going to go there. Last one here, Nick Folk, the kicker, over or under 6.5 total points?
I'm going to go over. Yikes.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to have
basically
to kick
how much confidence you have in the red zone with this team. If they get in the red zone, how much confidence do you have? If you think they're going to score touchdowns, you would go under. If you think they're going to get field goals, you're going to go over. So I'm saying they get 2 field goals and maybe 2 touchdowns. That would put them right at the 20-point mark. So that'd be over this.
Yeah, I have them at 1. I have them at 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. So I'm going with the over here too. I mean, I have them at 20 points. It's going to be 2 points and then 6 more. So I have them at 8. So yep, give me the over here for Nick Folk. So should we do the Super Bowl right now before we do the spread picks, or I guess the spread's kind of different. I guess we can just do the first rounds. You want to do the spreads right now?
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
All right, well, let's get into it. Raiders at Bengals Saturday before the Patriots game. Bengals are a 5.5 point favorite. What do you got here?
I think it's kind of a big spread, especially for a playoff game, first playoff game for Burrow and all those guys. But I think they're a better team by a decent margin. I'm going to go with the Bengals covering this. I don't feel that confident about it because the Raiders have been putting up a fight and playing some good football. But with the way that the Bengals handled the Chargers and the way that the Chargers and Raiders just kind of battled, I think this Bengals team is going to be ready for the challenge. And I honestly don't love it because I think Waller's going to be back along with one of their defensive players. And I think Crosby could feast on that Bengals offensive line. So it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough, but I'm going to have some confidence in Burrow and those weapons and say that they cover this one, but I don't love it.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's going to be the guy that has the swagger. Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, like they got enough swagger and explosiveness on that offensive side of the ball. I don't think Vegas can keep up with them. So I'm going to go with the Bengals in the curse, getting a home win in the playoffs here, covering that spread also at 5.5. So let's move Sunday night. Eagles at the Bucks. Buccaneers 8.5 point favorites right here.
I'm gonna say the Bucks cover this, and Brady in the playoffs. I don't think he's gonna let the Eagles beat him twice in big playoff games. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks covering this one. I have too much confidence in Brady and in that team.
Yeah, I have too much confidence in Brady too. And the Eagles rushing attack's a strong point in their game, and Tampa Bay
Bucks
allows under 100 yards a game, 92.5.
Exactly.
It's third best in the NFL. So
yeah.
I mean, if they can't get that going, they're going to be in for a long night. So I'm going to go with the Bucks covering that also. 4 p.m. game, Niners at Cowboys. What do you got here?
I got the Niners. I think I'm not going to spoil it too much, but I think the Niners have an opportunity here to maybe go on a little run. I think the Cowboys haven't been playing as good football. Obviously, they had that one game, the last game against Washington, but that's kind of a little bit of an outlier. They have been struggling a little bit. Their defense is still good. Their offense has not been in sync. And 49ers pass rush and their ability to run the football. I think they have a shot to make maybe a little run here and make some noise. But I'm going to go with the Niners covering.
Yeah, the one part that throws me off in this game is the Jimmy Garoppolo. The Cowboys defense against Jimmy Garoppolo, that's the scary part. But other than that, San Francisco's 6th best in the league in passing yards per game, and Dak Prescott has been prone to having bad off games the last couple of weeks. If he's shaky, Dallas is very, very mediocre. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with the Niners here, covering the spread, and I honestly think that they have a dang good chance at winning this game in Dallas. And pulling off that upset with the great defense, pass rush, and secondary they have. So, all right, Steelers, Chiefs, other part of the AFC happening Sunday night. Biggest spread in the playoffs by far. Chiefs 12.5 points.
Well, I'm gonna have to listen to the Steelers quarterback here, who said they have no chance. They got no shot to win this game, so they should just go have fun. So if one team is playing to go on a run, win a Super Bowl, and the other team is playing just to have some fun, and they have no chance, I'm going to say that team is going to lose by more than the 12.5 points. They got beat by like 40 last time by the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs are going to hold back this time either. Steelers are terrible. They're extremely lucky they made it here. They barely beat a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens team that's very beat up and has so many guys on IR. I have no confidence in the Steelers, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and I don't think it's going to be a close game.
I have zero confidence in them too, but the NFL knows something if they're putting this game on Sunday night. So I'm going to go with them getting their butts kicked too, but by 10 points. So I'm going to have Pittsburgh covering this. I think this is a lot of points for a Sunday night football game in the playoffs, and the defense is very good. TJ Watt's, a force to be reckoned with. Minka, I think that the defense can at least keep it close, but no way the offense can, play good enough to outscore Kansas City. So
no chance. Yeah.
No. Last one, Monday night, Cardinals at Rams, another divisional game, NFC West right here. Rams 3.5 points favorite at home.
I have the Rams. Winning this one. Even though the Cardinals are getting JJ Watt back, I think that is big, which is actually remarkable that he's coming back after that injury. But I got the Rams on this one at home. They got too much talent. If Stafford can clean up his play a little bit, which I am concerned about, he's thrown a lot of picks recently and tried to lose him some football games. We haven't seen him win a playoff game yet. I think he gets his first one here, though, at home.
Yeah, the big loss here, obviously, J.J. Watt coming back is huge. DeAndre Hopkins, the one that sucks that he's not coming back because now Jalen Ramsey's able to go to someone else and guard him. So
AJ
I'm going to agree.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk, whoever it is. I'm going to go with the Rams also covering this one. I think that they're the better team here, better defense. And if Stafford doesn't play well, then that's when it gets scary. But I'm going to go with the Rams covering this. So
I agree with you.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Last thing of the episode. I have made a slideshow. Well, Cole made the graphics. I made the slideshow right here for the Super Bowl bracket. We're going to go through this slide by slide. It will alternate. So I'll go first, and we'll pretty much just go right down. So we'll start with the Chiefs and the Steelers. Now, we picked the spreads, obviously, but the spreads are different than the games. So we'll just start it off. Chiefs, Steelers. I already said it. I don't see the Chiefs losing this game. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs getting this, but I think it's, somewhat respectable of a game with that defense Pittsburgh has. So Cole's up now. Same game. Chiefs, Steelers. Who you got?
I got the Chiefs in this one as well. I just think Ben Roethlisberger doesn't really instill any confidence in that football team after his little speech there in his media session. Maybe that's similar to what Brady said, like, oh, everybody thinks we stink, and maybe that's him trying to motivate this team and play an underdog role, but they got stomped by the Chiefs last time. I think the Chiefs is a much better team. The Steelers really haven't proved that they're even worth being in the playoffs. They're extremely lucky to be here. They had to rely on a late field goal by the Raiders. The Chiefs are a much more superior football team at this point. I don't think the Steelers have a chance in this one.
Yeah, no. You guys already saw this pick right here for both of us. Bills, Patriots. I'm going with the Patriots. I have faith in them. Anything can happen in the playoffs. And I think that, Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels are two of the best to have on your side. So I'm going with the Patriots here. They will face the 1-seed Titans in the second round. Cole has the Bills.
Buffalo Bills. I got the Bills winning. Just kind of all the things we mentioned. I think the Patriots have too much to clean up too quickly, and they're losing too many guys at the wrong time. I just think it's too many chips stacked up against this Patriots team. Even Bill Belichick being the great coach he is, even the playoffs, anything can happen. I think the Patriots have a shot, but I don't think that shot is good enough to pick them to win this game. I got the Bills in this one.
For sure. All right. Well, that moves us on to the last part of the AFC, the Saturday afternoon game. Bengals at Raiders. Whoever wins this game for me will be traveling to Kansas City to play, and I have the Cincinnati Bengals here. I think that the Bengals have the more explosive offense. They got swagger. It's their time to at least win a home playoff game and then go back and have, a little bit of a rematch game for Kansas City from 2 weeks ago. So I have the Bengals here. Cole has
I got the Bengals as well. I got the Bengals winning this one. I do think this may be the closest game out of all of them because the Bengals have been really hot recently, but they had their stretch down kind of later in the season where they were hot one game, they were down another game. And I think this is an opportunity for them to either be hot and win in the playoffs or have a down game with all these new players, these young guys, not a lot of experience in the playoffs, obviously. It's the Bengals. And I just think it could have upset written on it a little bit. It's not that big of an upset. It's a 4 and a 5 seed, but I don't think not that many people are picking the Raiders necessarily. They just squeaked into the playoffs with that win last week, but they're getting a couple guys back, and I think the Raiders have a shot, but I'm just going to pick the Bengals. I think they got too much talent on that offense, and I think defensively they'll be able to hold up enough.
Yes, for sure. Well, let's move to the NFC side. So AFC side, a little bit different from me and Cole. NFC side, we'll see how we are. First game, 2-seeded Bucks hosting the Eagles. No surprise here. I'm going with the Bucks on this one. I don't see Brady losing this game. I don't see him losing many games. So I'm going with the Bucks here. Cole has the
Buccaneers. I got the Bucks as well. I don't think they're going to lose to the Eagles. Round one of the playoffs, wild card round. I don't think Brady's going to lose that early.
No way. Next game, we'll move Cowboys at the Niners. We both kind of already hinted at this one. We both had the Niners covering the spread, and since they're the underdogs, the Niners are advancing. They will travel to Green Bay to play, and that is exactly what Cole has.
Yeah, I got the Niners as well. I think the Bengals, Raiders, and the Cowboys, Niners will be the most interesting games. I think they both could be really close. I think either team could win. The Cowboys, when they're hot, and their offensive line is great. Their defense is great. Their running game, along with the weapons they got, in the passing game, they haven't been as efficient and haven't been as explosive as they've been in the past. CeeDee Lamb hasn't been playing as well. Amari Cooper hasn't been connecting with Dak as well. I just think there's some things that Dallas needs to clean up, and I think this has a chance for an upset with this Niners team coming back from the Rams last week, having some confidence in each other, and I think that team just solid defense and good offense that can run the football. That's something that travels late in the year and into Dallas. I think they got a shot.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're an NFL fan from the early 2000s, the 90s, anyone that remembers the rivalries of the Cowboys and Niners game, like this game has a lot of meaning, and it might not be as much meaning as what it was back in the day, but this is going to be a pretty dang fun game with the rivalry that they have had in the past year. So I'm excited for that one too. I think it'll be a good one. But that moves us on to the Rams and the Cardinals. This one, I have the Rams. So the Rams will be going to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay will try to get rematch on them after they gave them their first loss in the regular season. And Cole has the same
thing. Yeah, I agree with what you said there. I think we touched on it, but I think the Rams, this game should be a good game too, but I think the Rams win this one. I don't think it's as close as some of the other games. Even though the Cardinals are a good football team, they've had their ups and downs. They certainly have not looked like the team that they were at the beginning of the year when they were undefeated for so long and they were playing really good football. It just seems like teams have caught on to them later in the year, and I think the Rams, if they play a cleaner version of football than they've been playing these past few weeks, I think they got a good shot to beat the Cardinals in advance.
Yeah, it will be a dang good game. So me and Cole, a little bit different on the AFC side, same on the NFC side. But that's going to put us in the 1-seed Titans hosting our New England Patriots for me. And this is where the road ends for the Patriots for me. Derrick Henry most likely going to be back, and he's had a lot of time to rest. He's been practicing for a couple weeks now, and they have the bye week, and they have home field advantage. Yes, we beat them once, but no AJ Green. No Derrick Henry. That makes Tannehill so much more, deadly and so much more effective. So sadly, this game with Vrabel coaching in Tennessee, this is where I have New England's road ending. And it sucks to say, but with them getting healthy, it's a very scary matchup. Probably the one that New England does not want to see. So that's what I have. Cole for now. He has the Titans and the Bengals. He has the Titans, same team.
Yeah, I got the and to touch on your matchup real quick, your pick. If the Patriots play the Titans, I think it's the worst matchup out of the AFC and NFC that they could play. I think it's a horrible matchup. Titans running game ability and their mismatches on the offensive side of the football. AJ Brown, Julio Jones. If we get run on like that by their backup practice squatters, I can't imagine what Derrick Henry's going to do to this defense. So that scares me. I'm not that concerned about Mac Jones having success against the Titans offense, but the Titans defensive line has been really good. They got a bunch of really talented guys on there, Landry and Simmons and those guys. They got a bunch of talent. So I think that defensive line, they did a great job stopping the run. Belichick struggles against Vrabel for some reason. It is what it is. It happens. And I don't think there's any chance at all that the Patriots could beat the Titans if they did advance. So I agree with you there. And then Titans Bengals for my pick. I got the Titans. I think the Titans are a really solid team, even though they almost lost to the Texans. When Derrick Henry comes back, this team is going to be at a whole nother level. And I think it's going to be tough for anybody to stop them, let alone a young Bengals team.
Yeah, and the Titans are going to be able to out physical the Bengals, and they're going to be able to chew clock. And sometimes offense is the best defense. They might be able to keep Joe Burrow off the field. At least control the time of possession, maybe double their time of possession. So that's an unfavorable matchup for most teams with Derrick Henry coming back. But that's going to move us. So KC hosting Cincinnati now for me. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. This was a hella good game 3 weeks ago, and Cincinnati came out and they played great and they were able to get the win. But I think in Kansas City, in Arrowhead, it's a different story. Kansas City, who knows the status of Tyreek Hill? Hopefully, or most likely, I think he'll be a lot more healthier than what he has been the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So that's a big difference, and I think that they get a little revenge on the Bengals, and that's where they're rode in. So I have Tennessee and KC in my AFC Championship game. Cole now has the Chiefs and the Bills, and he has
got the Chiefs in this one. I think the Chiefs are. I don't think they're the same team that they have been in the past. I don't think they're that same dominant force, but I think they'll have enough success to beat the Bills. I think this would be another good game in the playoffs. Arrowhead, the game would be at. So the Chiefs would be hosting it. I think that plays a big factor. And I see them winning the rematch of last year's playoffs and beating the Bills again. I got Kansas City advancing on this one.
So same AFC Championship matchup. Do we have the same NFC Championship matchup? Start off with the Packers and the Niners. This will be a dang good game, but I have Aaron Rodgers and the Packers hosting the NFC Championship game again. A little bit too much offense for Jimmy Garoppolo to keep up with, and honestly, a little bit too much offense for the Niners to stop him. So I have Green Bay back in the NFC Championship game this year, and Cole has
same thing. I agree with you there. Everything you just said. Packers are playing good. Niners, I think they could go on a run. I think this could be a game that maybe is an upset. I think they have a shot. I don't know. The Niners are kind of that team that lower seeded team that I'm kind of picking to possibly have a run this year. I'm not officially picking them in the playoff bracket necessarily, but I think this team has a shot to make a little run. I don't know. I like how they're built. If Jimmy G doesn't screw it up, I think the Niners have a shot to go further than a lot of people think in this playoffs.
I mean, they've done it before with him, so we'll see what they can do again.
Yep.
Other side, Buccaneers hosting the Rams, trying to get revenge on them for earlier in the season. I'm not betting against Brady. Yes, he's missing a lot of weapons, but I'm not betting against Tom Brady. So I'm going to go with the Bucs here. Rematch of last year's, and it's going to be a dang fun game. So that's mine. Cole has
same thing. I got the Bucs. I got the Bucs on this one. Brady. My concern. I am concerned about both these teams. I really am. I think it's going to be tough. Just Matthew Stafford has no playoff experience, really. He's never won a playoff game. He's playing not his best football. I mean, he's been struggling, to say the least, the past month or so. So if he cleans it up, I think this team has a real shot to go on a run. They're really talented on offense. They're really talented on defense. They haven't been playing their best football necessarily. They just blew a big lead to the Niners, who I think is a good football team. But I got the Bucs in this one. I just trust Brady too much, even with the weapons and kind of my concerns with that team. I just think the Bucs have enough to pull it off, especially with the concerns with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, it's the Rams they started off hot, but Matthew Stafford in any game can throw 2 or 3 pick sixes. So that's a scary thing. And don't bet against Brady in the playoffs. So that has us at the exact same conference championships for both the AFC and the NFC. We'll see how we do if we're the same in the Super Bowl. But out of the AFC side, Tennessee hosting Kansas City. I have Tennessee doing it. I have them making the run. You know, they're going to be an excited city to host the playoffs. If Vrabel's a great, young, ambitious coach, Henry is going to be, I think if there's one running back in the NFL that can do it, it's going to be Derrick Henry that can come back and be as dominant as he was having foot surgery and coming off of a break. So I'm going to go with Derrick Henry and the Titans advancing to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. Cole is going to agree.
I got the Titans as well. I just think that they're good. They're playing good football. I think Derrick Henry back is going to be a huge boost, and I think that the Chiefs haven't been able to stop the run as well this year as in the past. Even though they haven't been a great run stopping defense necessarily in the past, I just think they're struggling with that a little more. And their offense, I don't think is going to be able to carry them enough to where I think Vrabel can scheme up some stuff and put some pressure on Mahomes, stop the run, force them to be one-dimensional. And I think they'll have a plan for Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to get theirs. They're a great offense. They're a great team. But I just see Tennessee being too dominant in the run game, being able to control the clock and play the game on their terms. And I think Tennessee would win this one at their home place.
Yeah, it's that place is going to be rocking, and Tennessee will have a crazy, fan base and supporting and belief in that stadium, getting their top dog back and, an MVP candidate before he got hurt. So that is definitely going to be crazy. On the NFC side of things, rematch of last year, I have it the same outcome, man. Tampa Bay, they've done it before. They can do it again. Tom Brady's going up there. The two things that Green Bay struggles with in the playoffs is having a great defense and a good running game and stopping the run. And I think that Tampa Bay owns the advantage in the running game and on the offensive line with Fournette and Ronald Jones. Maybe on the defensive side with all the injuries, the Packers might have the better secondary, but they're not going to be able to stop that run game. Tampa Bay, we all know how great they are in rush defense. So I have Tampa Bay going back to the Super Bowl, setting up a Tampa Bay and Tennessee Super Bowl. Cole out of the NFC will have the opposite.
I got the Packers. I have too many concerns with the Bucs right now. Losing Chris Godwin is absolutely enormous. Losing Antonio Brown is huge. I know they still got Gronk, they still got Mike Evans, but their weapons are significantly depleted compared to what they were last year. Their offense isn't going to be able to do the same thing. I think they're more not one dimensional, but they're easier to stop with the lack of weapons that they have. Well, they still don't have a lack of weapons, but they're easier to stop than they have been in the past. And I got the Packers in this one. I think the Packers are such a good football team right now. They're getting David Bakhtiari back, their stud left tackle. They're getting Smith back, one of their stud edge rushers, pass rushers, whatever you want to call them. And they might be getting Jair Alexander back, who's arguably a top 2-3 corner in the league. Last year he was playing really, really good ball, and he's a young stud. The kid can ball for sure. So I just think the additions they're getting back are too big. The Packers are playing too well. Aaron Rodgers is not turning the football over. I'm still concerned about him in the playoffs. They just always seem to find a way to lose in the NFC Championship. But I think if there's a year that he's going to do it, I think it's this year. I just think this is a different year for them. I think this team is playing really good football, and I think the complement of having AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, I think late in the year in the playoffs, I think that's going to be tough to stop. I think the Bucs will be able to slow that rushing game down for sure. But I just think the Packers are playing really, really good football, and they're getting a lot of talent back on that offense and defense. So I just think it's going to be too much for the Bucs to overcome with losing Richard Sherman, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin. They've lost too many people in too quick of a time. I don't know if they'll be able to get it together and figure out a new plan come the NFC Championship time. So I got the Packers in this one.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good game, honestly. Like anything can happen there, but I don't bet against Tom Brady unless it's when the Patriots are playing him. Then he's going to get killed. But I don't bet against him there, and I'm going to ride the Bucs there. But that is how I have my Super Bowl ending out. I have the Bucs beating the Titans too, and I mean, the one team that's been great against the run all year, other than New Orleans too, has been Tampa Bay, and they might be the team that can slow down with their fast linebackers, Devin White, Levante David, Vita Vea up front. They might be the one off or defensive front seven that can slow down Derrick Henry enough and make Ryan Tannehill beat you. And when Ryan Tannehill has to beat you, we saw it. He's not very effective. He's great when Derrick Henry's there and teams have to load the box, but not when Derrick Henry's there but not when Derrick Henry's not there and teams are playing 6-7 men in the box and they're able to play more in the secondary. So if this is the matchup, I have Tampa Bay winning again, going back to back. And, if that happens, it would be hard for me not to just say, Tom, probably just retire at 8, but I know he never would. If that would happen, he'd finish out his contract, but
he'd say, hey, me. Let's shoot for 10 now. That's exactly what he'd say right there.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely.
like, I got 2 more years, and then I'm going to come back and win 3 more for the Patriots.
Yep. There you go, Jace.
No.
Sick animation, by the way. Your hard work paid off. Your good idea came to fruition.
It did. I had a little bit of doubt, and then it finally happened. But Cole, who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
I got the Titans, even though AJ Dillon, New England legend, BC legend. I think he'll certainly play a factor. I think this game could be really close, and I honestly think the Packers could win. I have a lot of confidence in the Packers. I don't know. I have a feeling about the Titans this year. I just feel like Derrick Henry is going to be in such good shape. I mean, when people come back from injuries, when they rehab, they're in the best shape of their life. I mean, they're just training nonstop to heal that injury, get their body in shape. He's going to be fresh for the playoffs. You think about every other playoff run they've had, he's had so many carries at that point in the year. He's got to be banged up, and he's going to be fresh, ready to go. Teams are going to be hurting late in the year. Stopping Derrick Henry in December, January, February, not an easy thing to do. So I got the Titans on this one. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think that'd be a heck of a Super Bowl. I would be rooting for the Packers in this one. I want to see those guys get one. If the Bucks or Patriots don't, obviously, I'd be rooting for the Packers. But I think the Titans are going to pull this one off. I don't know why. I got a feeling about the Titans this year that with their run game, with their pass game, if it's too much in Ryan Tannehill's hands, that's the only thing that concerns me. I think if Ryan Tannehill has to win the football game for him, they could be bounced first game, and that's what's tough. But I just think Derrick Henry's too dominant. That offensive line, Vrabel's a heck of a coach. He can scheme things up really well. I got too much confidence in Vrabel and Derrick Henry.
I can't believe you just said you'd want Green Bay to win this.
If the Patriots and Bucks didn't.
No, I'm talking about this. If it were me, the one team I don't want to win the Super Bowl is Green Bay, and then Buffalo, and then Kansas City, and then Dallas. Because one, I hate Aaron Rodgers. I can't stand the guy.
See, that's where we differ. That's where we differ.
You like Aaron Rodgers?
I didn't like him until he started coming on the Pat McAfee show last season. I started watching him all the time, and I think I like him a lot more than you do. I think he's a funny dude. I think he handles some situations pretty good, and I wouldn't mind seeing him. I like AJ Dillon too, rooting for the BC legend. I would like to see the Packers win over the Titans for sure. I don't want to see the Chiefs win. I don't want to see the Bills win. I don't want to see the Cowboys win. Other than that, in this scenario, I'd pick the Packers over. I'd rather see the Packers win.
Vrabel over a Patriots coach?
I can't do it. I can't do it with the Titans. I can't. Nope. I can't do it. Ryan Tannehill's trash. I like Vrabel a lot, but I just can't. I can't.
It would make me feel better about the Patriots if we said, "Oh, hey, well, we beat the Titans this year, and they won the Super Bowl."
Well, but did we? We beat them.
We beat them.
Ryan Tannehill and their back.
We beat them.
Did we though?
Derrick Henry was scared. That's why he knew we were coming up, so he got hurt.
Yes.
So
yes. Hey, there we go. Tanner's with me. Love the Rodgers support. See, he's a Rodgers fan too, right there.
Well, I mean, I think that he has said some good things in the past year on certain topics, but I can't just forget about the previous 15 years and how the NFL is totally bypassing Tom Brady's better statistical season at 44 years old because they think he's the MVP because of what he would have done if he threw as many passes as Tom Brady. There's a difference between would have and did. Like, go do it then. Go throw that many passes and do it. So, I mean, that's just my take on it. I that's how I see it, and we'll see.
I know Tanner will disagree with me here, but I think Brady should be the MVP this year as well. I just think, he's leading in passing yards and passing touchdowns. I know there's a better ratio. I know Rodgers has less interceptions, but I just think, especially Brady's had to deal with, not that Rodgers hasn't, but Brady's had to deal with some adversity as well with some of the guys he's lost and injuries. I mean, Gronk was hurt forever. AB was hurt forever. He was suspended. There's been a lot going on in the Bucs organization, and I think Brady should win the MVP this year as well. But I like Aaron Rodgers. I used to not care for him, but I've been once he went on the Pat McAfee show and I watched that a decent amount, and he kind of opened up and you kind of see the more human side of some of these players, and it's fun to watch. And he's in my opinion, he's a tough guy to not like. So I don't mind Rodgers, but if everybody has a different cup of tea, so it is what it is.
Yeah, that's definitely not my philosophy on him, but that's okay. I won't bag you for it. My uncle's a Packers fan, so that kind of plays into it.
Oh, all right.
Have,
Well, that
I'd have
makes sense.
I'd have to hear about it for the longest time. So,
My
um,
grandfather's also a huge Packers fan, so I I would be okay with them winning it for him. He deserves to enjoy a Super Bowl, so I wouldn't mind that.
the other one that would be horrible, other than the Bills and Chiefs, there's not a lot of Bills and Chiefs fans around me. Is the
Cowboys.
Cowboys? They're oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Their fans suck. I hate the Cowboys.
I can't even fathom my friends getting a big head because the Cowboys won. I'd probably punch them and go to prison, but I can't even stand them already. Like,
It's not even that I hate the Cowboys. It's literally just the fans. The fans is what makes people hate the Cowboys so much because they suck. All they do is talk shit no matter what. They just love chirping all the time for no reason. It's like
they haven't
dude,
been
just
relevant
shut
for
up.
20 years. What is there to hate about them? Like,
Yeah,
they haven't been
exactly.
relevant. I mean, the most
Exactly.
relevant thing is because they got knocked out of playoff because it wasn't a catch. So, I mean, I don't hate the team. Maybe I hate like Jerry
Just the
Jones.
fans, dude. They're
It's the
just they're the
fans. It's every
worst.
year you
The
think that they're the
worst.
Super Bowl, the best team America's team. I don't care
Yeah.
if you're America's team. Good. Go be America's team. America's team hasn't represented America in 20 years. So Brandon Bolden over Zeke.
I'd have to agree with you there. After that 3rd and 1 that he finally got a 3rd and 1 first down and scored the touchdown, Brandon Bolden over Zeke. You can't disagree with you on that one. Brandon Bolden's a stud. Yeah, Cowboys fans are the worst. They just love chirping, and now they're trying to get the Super Bowl in Dallas and thinking that they're going to end up being there. But we both got them being knocked first round. So I don't know. I don't know about that one. I think I'd hate to see the I don't know who I'd probably hate to see the Bills win it the most. Chiefs, Titans, not Dallas Titans. That'd be my rankings right there, probably.
Yeah. If it's not the Patriots, it's got to be Bucks 1 for me. Yeah, that's true. If Dallas wins, America loses.
Exactly.
If it's not the Patriots, it's got to be Bucks 1 for me. Probably Titans 2, just because of Vrabel. And I don't know. I do kind of hate them because they ended Brady's career, but that's more of like
I mean, how can you forget that? How can you forget that? His last play as a Patriot was a pick six to the Titans. How can you like the Titans? How can you root for them after that?
It's just a sour taste. I mean, I respect the heck out of Mike Vrabel. So, I mean, heck, Mike Vrabel has a crap ton of touchdowns and Super Bowls for the Patriots. So, let's be thankful for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously Bucks won, and then I wouldn't hate to see the Titans, but honestly, if it's not the Patriots or Tom Brady and Gronk, it's the worst matchup for me is like Kansas City or Buffalo against Dallas or Green Bay. Like, I probably would not have any interest in one of those.
Oh, yeah, that would the Bills versus Dallas. I'd probably root for Dallas. I'd root for Dallas in that one.
I probably would too, and that pains me to say, but I would.
That's tough to say, but no, I'd be obviously Patriots. If the Patriots don't win, Bucks, Packers, Bengals.
I'd like to see the Bengals.
Maybe Bengals. I like Burrow. Okay, all right. Calm down, Tanner. Calm down. Calm down. Brian Hoyer over Dak. That's facts. That's facts right there. Ryan Mallett over Tom Brady. All right. Jeez. That's unbelievable. No, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Bengals. Burrow and Mixon and all those guys. Young, talented team. Bengals haven't been good in a long time. Haven't been to a Super Bowl. I don't know if ever. If they have, it hasn't been in forever. So I wouldn't mind seeing them win one. I like seeing the underdogs pull stuff off once in a while. That'd be a good story.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, this is a little bit longer episode, obviously, because we did the.
Jeez, I didn't know it was this long.
You didn't even look at. I just closed this slideshow tab and got back to this screen, and it was like 140. I'm like, oh wow, that was a big one. But we're gonna. I think we talked about shrinking down just the last 15, 20 minutes of our Super Bowl picks, making that into a clip, and putting that on the YouTube. So if you need to go back and rewatch that, or if you want to make some picks too in the comment section, go ahead and do that. But thank you guys for tuning in. Exciting Saturday night. It's win or go home. It's really what the season comes down to, and it's been a huge success in my mind. And I picked us to win 11 games, but I still thought that was kind of a little bit absurd. But now looking back on the season with how many games we could have won, more games we could have won, I should say. It's been a success. I'm excited for the future of this team and excited to at least get one more week of Patriots football on Saturday.
Yeah. I agree. It's gonna be a fun game. Hopefully Pats pull it off. I'd love to see that. Even if they lose, as long as they're competitive. I mean, it's a good season for this team. They had their ups and downs. It's a good start for the Patriots and Mac Jones, all these young guys, first-year players. It's going to be a great experience no matter how the game goes. So I'm excited to see how it unfolds. I hope the Patriots can overcome some of the things that they're going to be going up against with the injuries, the COVID, guys missing, and the Bills are extremely healthy. It's going to be an uphill battle, and that starts with, like we said, like we talked about the whole podcast, the first quarter, first drive, stopping the Bills, putting points on the board. It's going to be huge. So I'm excited. If this team wins, there's nobody who can be upset after this about anything. Like, if they beat the Buffalo Bills and they move on to the divisional round, this has exceeded expectations for sure of what people thought this team was going to be this year. So Buffalo at the beginning of the year, a lot of people were picking to win the Super Bowl, and most of them had them at least going to the AFC Championship. So if we knock them out first year of this like rebuild, Mac Jones, rookie quarterback, you got to be thrilled. And after that, anything else is just icing on the cake and the cherry on top. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun to watch. Thank you, Tanner. Great pod, boys.
Thank you.
It's going to be fun to watch. Playoff game, playoff football. I would hate to see it be the last game that we see of the Patriots this year. I'm not ready for the offseason. Well, I mean, what are we going to do the entire offseason? We're going to have to come up with some great draft content.
Yes.
Watch a lot of prospects, watch film. We'll have some great stuff coming. I am excited for that, but I'd rather watch the Patriots than have to think about them getting kicked out and starting all over. But it's been a fun year regardless. I can't wait for the game. You got anything else?
No. Pat Scott IG said covering myself in mustard at the moment, acting like a Bills fan. Go jump on a table. Break a table for me and Cole. So you have to break 3. 1 for yourself, 1 for me, 1 for Cole, and then if you want good luck, 1 for the Patriots. Do it for the Patriots. So and
then go shower. That's disgusting.
Yes,
Come on.
Gross. That's gross.
That's a Bills fan thing. That's it.
Go get some tomato sauce and wash yourself in it, like when you get sprayed by a skunk or whatever. Like, you got to get that smell out of your skin. It's just like it's going to marinate in your skin. So make sure you get that out.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. It was a bit of a longer one, but everybody will be back on the pod Saturday night after the game, hopefully with a win, hopefully advancing. And we'll probably be playing the Titans if we end up winning this one and get lucky enough to advance. So going to be a fun game. Going to be great to watch. Playoff Mac, his first playoff game, a lot of first playoff games for these guys in cold weather. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun game to watch. But we will thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. We appreciate the 103 subscribers now at this point. We hit 100 a couple weeks ago. So
104 now. All right. I just checked.
All right. 104
we gained
now.
One. So
thank you guys. Thank you guys for the support and everything. And we will see you guys on Saturday night. Go Pats.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out PatriotsDrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.